First time at Laguna Seca with the Supra, and first time in 4K video. My computer is going to die rendering this shit. Guys, I can't tell you how excited I am for this day, and for a lot of reasons. You know, I just haven't been able to get out to the track nearly as often as I wanted to, but we're here with the Supra. It's the first track day, and one thing I didn't really get to do in the Type R before I started tracking it was do a track day that was 100% stock. The Supra today is stock. There are no mods aside from the Cusco tow hook in the front and back. That's it. I got factory wheels. No, the ride height is still stock, factory suspension, factory seats, factory everything. And you know, she's ready to go. You know, we're ready to put down a good baseline lap. I've already unloaded the car. It's largely already prepped. You know, unlike the Type R where I had to load and unload my entire garage to do a track day. And to be fair, I didn't have to, but it just made being on the track a little bit more efficient, just so I didn't have to be on my race day tires driving tuned from the track, and you know, I could bring other comfort things like a chair and a cooler and stuff like that. In the Supra, I'm so limited on space that this is all I got. I mean, that's all of it, guys. That's the entire contents of my Supra. That's it. It's all right there. I mean, I can count the items. And to be honest, I probably didn't even need all of this stuff. I probably could have made a little bit more room and brought a chair with me. You know, so there's definitely some great things about the Type R, that I could bring so much stuff with me, but it's really nice that I don't have to. Or it's really nice that I can't, because therefore I don't have to. You know, so this is it. I don't have a trailer. It's not going to be a trailer car. It's not going to be a flatbed car. I don't think it will ever get to that point. At least that's not the goal. If it does ever end up on a trailer, it's going to be for convenience sake, just not having to drive it to and from the track. But other than that, we're mostly set up. We're going to go to our driving meeting and head out for the first session. Now, I should say, now I've been to Laguna Seca many times in the Type R. My record here is 1:39.53. That is the fastest lap I've ever done on this track in the Type R in any car. And it's a tall feat, so I'm not gonna lie, you know, I'm definitely not going for sub 140 my first track day ever in the Supra. That just wouldn't make sense. So I'm probably, realistically for today, maybe not realistically, but I would love to be in the 141 range. That might be a little bit too much to ask for my first day, since I really haven't tracked this car or even really had a chance to drive it that hard. So there's definitely going to be a pretty large learning curve today for this car, but it's nice because it's on a track that I'm very familiar with. I'm just taking a walk around and I saw these beautiful cars. Some might argue these are my future cars. So anyways, we're just about done setting up, and we're gonna head out here for session 1 in just a minute. Session 1 done, and I didn't crash. That's number 1, which is good. No crashing is good. I did have a little camera malfunction. I was using this device to suction to the silver crossbar behind the seats, and it felt pretty sturdy. I didn't think it would fly off, but it did, and that's when the picture cut out. I'll show you guys in the video. I found a plate mount, GoPro plate mount, that I'm gonna try and use. It's that right there. And mount my GoPro to the plate mount bracket. Hopefully that will be strong enough to hold. It should be. The GoPros aren't that heavy. And the only reason why I didn't use a plate mount to begin with is because the plate mount I have is curved and the bar is flat. So hopefully this sticks okay until I get a flat plate mount. But not bad, not bad. First session out, first time ever on the track. My best lap was 1:42.88. So 42, I mean, first session out in a car I am not familiar with. And what I'll tell you is the scariest turn by far in a stock Supra, one without aero, is turn 1. Absolutely, it's turn 1. the scariest experience I've actually had on this track in a long time, including that in the S2000, because in the S2000 it did have a little bit of float coming over turn 1, but it's not barreling down the straight nearly as fast as the Supra is. And you know, so lower speeds, and with the Supra the main thing was lower speeds. I was just I had a couple spin outs, but the Supra has lots of traction when it's not going over turn 1, because it's an absolute nightmare. Like my first hot lap, I feel like I nearly crashed, because I came over turn 1 where I normally would in the Type R, so I can line up right to the right next to the cones, to the third board marker, and then that's when I slam on the brakes in the Type R. But in this car, you know, my buddy warned me about turn 1, and I didn't quite take it all the way to heart, or as much as I should have. And then when I crested over turn 1, the car had such bad float. I hit the brakes a little sooner than I should. It threw the balance off of the car. The car started to understeer a little bit, and I avoided the dirt, but had my wheels, any of the wheels hit the dirt, that would have been bad news. So anyways, camera situation is fixed. I have a little better idea of what I need to do over turn 1. One thing I forgot to mention is the brake feel in the Supra. So I got a couple of buddies who have a Supra too. They track it. In fact, that's one of them right there. That's Anthony's helped me a ton on my Type R driving skills as well. The guy's an absolute beast on track. But anyways, feedback from him and other people, like my other buddy Will, and now I'm discovering this for myself, but the brake feel is really squishy, like squishy from the factory, which is a little weird. It feels like the brakes are fading, like all the braking force is there and the car is slowing down, but the pedal just feels like the brakes are fading. It's not really conducive to this high level sports car, which is kind of maybe the one disappointing thing I can really point out so far, is the way the brakes feel. And Anthony warned me about this too, just like he warned me about turn 1, and here I am not listening. So, or I am listening, it's just you know, I didn't know the severity of it, if you will. So we're gonna have to find a solution for the brakes, because that's definitely not gonna cut it. I've got the brake master cylinder brace from Verus that's coming in. Again, that's not on the car yet, nothing at all. And it helps, but apparently it doesn't fix the problem. So, might have to look into BBK down the road, but we'll see. Session 2 done. Man, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like this car over turn 1 straight up scares the crap out of me. Like I do not scare easy. I don't. As long as I'm driving, I don't scare easy. If somebody else is driving, then that's a different story. But yeah, turn 1, it's like I'm easily giving up 1 second going over turn 1, and I'm probably giving up another 7 to 8 tenths of a second going into turn 2. And all that boils down to the issues that or the challenges, I should say, that I feel with the car. So the back end gets super light going over turn 1. So there's a couple of laps where if you line up perfectly going over the crest of turn 1, you can go full bore over it and be okay. Like it's very much a trust thing, very much a trust thing, because the feeling is very floaty and it feels like there are no tires on the ground when you're going over turn 1. Scary as hell. But if you line it up correctly, you can go, you know, balls out over turn 1 and you'll be okay. You'll be lined up for a good braking zone. Then after that, if you manage to do that, then you got the problem with the squishy brake pedal. Okay, and the problem with the squishy brake pedal is now I find myself braking earlier than I should or normally would, quite a bit earlier than I normally would in my Type R, just because the brake pedal feels so squishy. And again, the brake force is there, the car is slowing down, but because of that lack of little bit of trust, or you know, what my foot's telling me versus what my eyes are telling me versus what I'm feeling in the steering wheel versus what I'm feeling in the grip, etc., they're not all lining up, because what the pedal is telling me, and thus that's telling my brain, is your brakes are fading. And they're not fading, they just feel like they're fading. And so I have had the tendency to overcompensate, and then I end up braking way too soon going into turn 2 after cresting turn 1. So absolutely, without a doubt, turn 1 and turn 2 are where I'm losing the most time. Looking at my Garmin, it's verified on there. That's where the opportunities are. I've got bold lines highlighting turn 1 and turn 2. So I know where I'm losing time. I absolutely know where I'm losing time. If you know, the weather is fine, it's not overly hot. I only managed about a 144. That was the best lap time I could manage last session. It's just squirrely, guys. I gotta tell you, man, it's like turn 1 is everything. And what sucks about that is when you get a little bit rattled that early in the lap, it absolutely affects the whole rest of your lap too. You try to shake it off, but for sure it's going to affect the rest of your lap too, right? So, I mean, all in all, so far I got a 142 earlier in the day. I think the tires are holding up relatively well. They definitely lost a little bit of time going further into the session, but I'm understanding better how to correct the car, being that it's rear-wheel drive. You know, they tune these cars from the factory at the limit to understeer. It's very easy to counter that in this car. You can do some trail braking. If you overcook the trail braking, you can get on the gas pedal a little bit to straighten back out. I mean, it's very, very predictable in that sense. It's very, it's manageable in that sense. I think for me, the two biggest issues that I'm seeing with a stock Supra, I almost said Civic Type R. My two biggest issues with the Supra so far are aero and brakes, which are going to be corrected. At least the aero will be. Brakes I need to figure out. So anyways, it was fun. You know, the car, no No issue at all, no sign of overheating, nothing. It just soldiered on and it kept going as much as I wanted to push it. So really happy with it. We're waiting for session 3. We're probably gonna grab some lunch here in a minute and then we'll head back out. Session 3 done, and big difference, big difference in level of comfort this last session. I think I'm finally starting to come around and trust what the car can do and how the car will react in certain situations. It's a lot to figure out all at once. Brand new track, or not a brand new track, but a brand new car, rear wheel drive platform, so totally different feel in how you manage it and how you manipulate the weight of the car. So all in all, I'm I'm pretty happy. Like I got back down to the 143s, and I was doing that pretty consistently throughout the lap. I know where I'm leaving time. I still think 141 is definitely in the cards. You know, just got to clean up my laps a little bit. In fact, my confidence had gotten to the point now where I was even braking a little bit too late into turn 2, which is good, because turn 1 and turn 2 is absolutely where I was leaving the most time. So just need to clean that up a little bit, clean corkscrew up a little bit. I think I'm maybe braking a hair too late into corkscrew as well, which is good. That's a good sign. I think overconfidence for me comes in the form of braking too late. I found that out of my Type R as well. So if I start to brake too late in this car everywhere on the track, then I know I'm really starting to feel confident. And you know, I still got to do something about that pedal feel, because I'm not a fan of how squishy it is, but I think my brain is starting to calibrate with the level of pedal compression and what the car is actually doing. So what I can say is the car is incredible in the fact that I feel like I can manipulate how much of the front end is turning in, and you know, if I feel like I'm losing the back end, you know, how to control that and bring the car back without losing too much time, you know. So actually it's quite confidence inspiring. Very different way than the Type R. The Type R, I feel like, you know, you could feel confident driving that car at 9/10 or 10/10 out of the box with very little experience in the vehicle. This car is very well engineered and has a lot of superior mechanical attributes, but still ones that has a learning curve to it, if that makes sense. Not something that I could just jump into and then go gung-ho like I did in the Type R and produce the same results. But man, I gotta tell you, you know, the 142 my first session and 143 my last session, and that's 4 seconds slower than my best in the Type R, really puts things into perspective for that car and that platform. And look guys, like, I'll be the first to admit, it's definitely a driver mod thing for this car. My driver mod is not there for what this car is capable of, so take my lap times today with a grain of salt. As I continue to learn this platform and this chassis and the dynamics of this car, my times will continue to drop without making too many changes. So really happy, really happy. I'm gonna jump off and have lunch with some buddies, and then we'll head out for another session. last session of the day for me done. And you guys probably saw it on camera, but I had a spin out on turn 11. Same place I spun out in the S2000. So that's okay. I managed the 143 again. I know where I'm leaving time. I think for me, my big takeaway from today is not only learning the nuances of the Supra, is learning how to manipulate weight shift in this car. Like I knew how to do it perfectly in the Type R. This car is a totally different beast. With rear wheel drive, totally different feel, totally different way to drive the vehicle. So 142 was my low of the day. That was in the first session. I'm pretty happy with that. I was hoping for 141, but 100% stock. You know, Randy Popes did 140 flat, so I'm 2 seconds slower than Randy. You know, it's like he's a pro driver. I'm very much an amateur, so I think I'm okay with the 142. Oh man, so much fun, way too much fun, guys. It's actually fun once you get the confidence that you need to drive a car like this at its limit. And I've had little glimpses of that, but at the same time I also had little bouts with PTSD, because when I felt a little bit out of my comfort zone, not out of control, but out of my comfort zone, that kind of made things for the remainder of that lap a little more sketchy, if that makes sense. So hey, look, it was a learning process with the Type R. It's going to be a learning process with this car too, right? I definitely wasn't expecting to just jump into this car and go gung-ho and do a sub 40 on a stock vehicle. So maybe somebody out there can do it, but it ain't me. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the first track day for the Toyota Supra. Stay tuned for a whole lot more. That's it for today's video. Until next time, stay hungry, stay fast, stay tuned. I'm Michael Baxi, and I'm out.
Okay, I've been working like 3 jobs. Probably why I never see ya. Probably why I never have time for the fake friends that won't be ya. Oh God, I've been running now. Up early when the sun is out. Not setting out my own soul, but those real ones, they coming out. Oh look.